his own dad has to turn him in.
Charlie Kirk's assassin has been caught. Turned himself in fact, and we will give you more of those details. But the alleged assassin has been taken into custody. We'll walk you through the timeline this morning of how that went, some updates on law enforcement's role in this, the family of the shooter's role in this, and the latest on who the shooter was, the profile, the ideology behind it, and then also I think we're going to spend a portion of the show today. Well, first off, of course, continue to commemorate our friend Charlie Kirk and the incredible work that he did. And I think, Clay, there was never a doubt as soon as we got the horrible news and were able to process what had happened, there was never a doubt that Charlie's legacy, the movement, the organization, and what he stood for would not only continue on, but I think there is a turning point toward standing for these principles and standing for this free speech in an elevated, just going forward, everybody on the right, everybody who believes in the Constitution, everybody who believes in the First Amendment, feels like we must stand with this legacy of Charlie Kirk, his work, what he did, what he stood for. We also do need to address the widespread is the only, I think, way you could describe it. It is not fringe. It is not on the edges, on the margins. The widespread, horrific response to this assassination of our friend Charlie Kirk from elements of the left. People are getting fired left and right, which they deserve, but it's just astonishing because that shows you how utterly deranged in their politics so many everyday Americans, as well as pundits and people with followings. And so we'll get into all of this. But first, Clay, let's just go through the news events this morning as they happened. First off, President Trump was sitting on the couch at Fox and Friends, and he gave a pretty good indication of what was to come. Play clip 1.
Any updates on the suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job.
Clay, that was then confirmed later by Governor Spencer Cox of Utah. This is cut 8, saying that they do, in fact, have Charlie Kirk's murderer. The assassin was in custody. Play it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
But Clay, the investigation continues about what was said by him online. Did he have any co-conspirators? There's a lot still to unpack, but the assassin is in custody as we speak to you now, thankfully.
No doubt. And we're getting more and more information about the assassin, and we try to avoid giving a lot. I try to say avoid giving names. I understand sometimes we play media coverage where they do it. Here are some of the identifying details that I think are starting to be revealed. 22 years old, was to a large degree turned in by his dad, who was a 27-year law enforcement veteran. The dad, I'm seeing reports of, we talked about this, that there's a $100,000 reward. The dad is saying, I'm not taking the reward. But the question that is out there, this is a kid, grew up in a Utah home and had a completely normal upbringing, evidently made good grades in school, did well on standardized tests, and something, and I know this is part of what your book is about, Buck, something radicalized him. Something turned him from a kid that was not particularly political, according to his parents and those around him, to expressing that he hated Charlie Kirk and being willing to kill Charlie Kirk, plan it all out, all the details. He changed clothes. Again, if you missed the press conference, it feels very open and shut case. His motivation, I'm not talking about what his motivation was, because there'll probably be articles where they say in the New York Times, we may never know why he did this. There were Antifa and anti-Nazi engravings on the shell casings that he was using to kill Charlie Kirk. So he hated Charlie Kirk. He was a far left ideologue committed to Antifa and anti-Nazi ideology, according to the engravings on the bullets themselves. So we know what his motivation was. To me, Buck, the story now is how. How did a kid in a normal middle-class upbringing, nuclear family, how did he get radicalized to the point where he was willing, by the age of 22, to take a rifle and go murder someone that he had decided he hated because of Charlie Kirk, because of his political beliefs? How did that happen in a relatively short period of time? Because evidently this kid did well in high school, made good grades, wasn't political, to suddenly sitting down at the family table screaming slogans about hating Charlie Kirk, and then his own dad has to turn him in.
Look, how do you prepare for natural disasters? One easy way is by getting a pair of Rapid radios. These are modern-day walkie-talkies built to communicate on a nationwide LTE network, so distance is not a problem. We've shared our own story here on the show about how when my in-laws got hit bad by that hurricane up in western North Carolina, we thought it was going to hit Florida really badly. It actually hit western North Carolina really badly. Trees were coming down. One came down through their kitchen. Power lines down everywhere. I was able to talk to them from my living room in Florida the next day on my Rapid radio, checking in with them. How are you doing? How's it going? No monthly fees, pre-programmed simplicity. Rapid radios keep you connected and should be part of your preparation plan. Plus, they're super convenient. So just for the day-to-day, keeping in touch with elderly relatives, your kids, people on the job site, whatever it is, Rapid radios, once you start using them, you'll see they are trusted, tested, legit. Go to rapidradios.com today. That's rapidradios.com. You'll save 60% when you visit that website. Use promo code radio and get